Hey, welcome to part 2. Today's a crazy loud house. If you hear mumbling or music in the background, I do apologize. I'll try to make this a shorter video than the last time because, of course, we're just doming. Now, we had a hot spell, heat wave, and now that's over with. So my pieces that I actually glazed, I did the switcheroo and turned them 180 degrees and glazed them. And I also, like the red piece, and I also started glazing a new piece because I had some leftover resin. It didn't harden until this morning. So what I'm going to be showing you today is I do have the glazing process, I do have the doming process that I'm going to show you with the red glosses, and I'm just going to glaze the blue glosses. You see the blue in the background. Now I've set up the red glosses, I've merged them into silly putty. And what you have to remember to do when you do this is, because we are doming now, we've already glazed the edges and we've already glazed the sides of the glosses. So I've submerged them, and you want to make sure that the silly putty goes up to that point and not overlapping onto the face. Okay, does that make sense? The silly putty is going to just expose the face, the part that we're doming, because if you get any silly putty on the face, it's not going to stay on there, just like any other silicone preparation or mold. Okay, so I'm just bringing that around like that. To do the doming process, besides our mask and besides our gloves, is we're going to need like a thinner coffee stirrer popsicle stick, because, well, first of all, I guess it depends on what you're working on, but because I'm doming like a thin face, I'm going to be needing like a thinner popsicle stick to apply the resin. I'm also going to be cutting in the face with some honey glaze resin. So I'm going to be using my acrylic paintbrushes. As you can see, this paintbrush here is a little frayed, and that's because I was pulling the resin off and I didn't have a chance to soak it as yet to prepare. So I'm going to be using a new brush. Okay. I've gone ahead and made the honey resin, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cut in the face with some honey resin. Now for some reason I don't it's probably because it was cold this morning, and then by after 3 o'clock, which is when I'm doing this, it has heated up, and therefore the chemical reaction for the two parts with this resin, it sped up quickly. So instead of, like yesterday, I had to wait 45 minutes to get the honey resin to actually get to that point. Well, today it's back to half an hour. So I'm working really, really quickly, just getting the glaze on there, cutting it in. I have an interface that I did not glaze yesterday, so the inside edge. So I'm glazing the inside edge. I'm just going to do this one side so that I can show you the process. I'm glazing the whole thing because I don't want to waste any glaze, but I'm going to show you how I dome just the right side there, and then I'll show you the results after. But it's been very interesting discovering how I would work in the wintertime. because again, the fluctuations in temperature, fluctuations with you know, the furnace going off and on, that's going to be a thing. Now, I'm not going to make a second batch of resin to do the doming. I'm going to use the same resin to do the doming, and you'll see what happens. What we want is, we've got this honey glaze. That's a good way to put it. Honey glaze resin. Okay, that's the state that you want it in. And then you want your doming resin to look like jam. Okay, and you're going to see what I mean about that when I show you how the resin, as it thickens, and it'll probably be another 45 minutes, so I've got to get this stuff on quick. I'm just doing the blue pair right now. You know, just getting it on there, slapping it on there real fast, because I just want to cover the edge of the blue pair. You're not going to see that. I'm not going to really show you what happens with the blue pair, so I just want to get this done. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but you'll see that it looks like with the glaze on, it looks really kind of, I want to say, lacy. It looks kind of lacy. It looks kind of uneven. It doesn't matter. We're going to be doming. We're going to dome right over it, right? So I've just sort of taken all the honey textured resin and just wiped it all around on the face, and it's just fine. It's exactly what we want. Now, let me just show you what I mean about jam for your glazing, for your doming. We're going to dome. This now looks like jam. See? It's set up on the popsicle stick. It's not even running. It's just there. It's like jam. It's like strawberry jam. And all we're going to do is we're going to start in the middle, and we're going to apply some of this jam textured resin, and then you're going to push it out to the edge, but about a millimeter away, like a little slight, right? You want a little bit of a space because you don't want it to run over the edge. That's not this process. That's the old way, right? We've already done the edge. Okay, so we're just applying it now you apply it to the middle, and then you push it towards the edges, right? See that? You're going to push it towards the edges. Being careful not to go over, because you know what happens, right? It goes over the edge, it drips down the side, and then when it actually hardens, and then you have this like hard ridge that you have to file off. Well, I'm using upcycled, recycled wood product. So what do you think is going to happen if I have to file any edges? It's going to go right through my beautiful, piece. Okay, different with polymer clay. Feel free to file away and reapply and file away and reapply. But this is the reason that I came up with this, is for my process. If you're dealing with any sort of wood product or paper products or anything like that, and you have to do resin it, or you want to resin it, you're not going to be able to apply it and then file it, right? It'll wreck your piece, right? So I'm just, carefully it's just so easy to work with at this state. Now you gotta remember that because it's, it is relatively warm in here, it's setting up really fast. Now if you have little edges, like what I'm doing is I'm taking my acrylic brush, well, just my hair in the way, hilarious, and I'm just sort of pulling. I'm not bringing it down over the edge, I'm just pulling it towards the edge with my acrylic brush, and I'm pulling it on to the silly putty in the middle. right? So it's just pulling in, because what will happen is when it does complete its process and it hardens, and this is going to take about 24 hours, I'll get a really, really thin film of thin film of resin that I can just easily, you know, take a little bit of a snipping scissor and snip that off. Last time when I did it, it was so thin, it was like saran wrap, kind of. That's what it was like, and all I did was just pull it off with my fingers. But it wasn't hard. It wasn't that hard edge that you get with polymer clay when you let it drip off the sides, and then you have to file it and do all that, and then you have to, like, the drama, right? But you can see here, like, there are little bits and spaces, right, where there's like little dimples and things. As long as it's not completely set up, you can still pull that. Now, what I should do is wait until tomorrow and then just go in and fill in all the dimples and stuff like that. I'm not doing that, right? I want to experiment and see if it's possible to make this happen. You know, get rid of all the drama. Now, here's the thing. Art resin, I don't know about any other doming resins, but art resin is a really good doming resin, and what's great about it is that it will level itself, self-leveling resin, right? So even if you pull stuff in, you know, pull some resin into the side and it causes a dimple, it will level itself out. But here's where your leveling, your table needs to be level for that to happen, right? I didn't level my table ahead of time. I like to apply, I do everything backwards. I like to apply the resin in its jam state. Pull everything to where, you know, out to the outer edges, out to the inner edges, and then I like to level my table after probably about 2 or 3 minutes, because after 2 or 3 minutes you can see how it's going to be settling. And here we go. Oh man, look at this, right? I mean, this is basically how it's going to settle, and it's beautiful. And if I don't like the fact that it's, you know, pulling off to one side or pulling into one side, I'll wait and I'll make a decision whether or not to add more to it or just leave it the way it's going to be. I'm not going to be going back over it and filing it or whatever. I like the fact that this is eyewear art anyhow. I will probably rub out the shine, so you're going to see the dimples less. And then after it's all said and done, after 24 hours, I'm going to flip it over and then I'm going to do the back surface just the way I did the front surface. So I hope this has been helpful. You know, like, subscribe, leave a constructive comment. Let me know if this process works for you in your process as far as doming is concerned. And until next time, see ya.